Hey lovely people, welcome back to the lovely place. Today I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of this DuraVent DuraPlus chimney installation that I did. And I want to lead you to a tutorial that hopefully will help you a bunch. So last year, actually early this year, it was in the winter time of this year. We're in November now, coming on the next winter season. But then I put this up. I did the full install. I did about 3 different videos, and then I consolidated all of that into one video that's pretty long but extremely detailed. I'm going to go through these parts with you right now, not in great detail. You can check out that video if you really want to see the full installation and you want to understand all of these parts and see it all put together. But I just want to give you the overview so that you can see what is possible with a through the wall chimney kit. And that's what I ordered. First of all was the through the wall kit, which includes this T here and the thimble and all of the parts that you see from here down and in. And we'll go on the inside in a moment. But on the outside, you might notice that we've got us a 3-foot section here. And then we use the 9-inch section right there on top of this 3-foot section. And that 9-inch is what came with the through the wall kit. But since we're going through a pole barn, I had to order a 12-inch section to get through that thicker wall there. So we used the 9-incher that came with the through the wall on top of the 3-footer. And then we had, I believe it was called a 30-degree kit, and it came with 2 of the 30-degree angles. So that allowed it to go outside of the soffit, and then the other 30-degree, and by the way, in the middle there is a footer. And so yeah, and of course everybody's is going to be different depending on where you place the hole and everything else, but it worked out good for us so that we could put the other 30-degree here, and then we have 2 additional 3-footers up there, so they're 6 feet above, and then we have the chimney cap. Now you'll notice in the other video that I talk about the importance of getting up so high in proportion to your ridge up at the top. There's certain specifications you got to follow, and I was going to do something on the inside, and I got up here and I realized that the cement, the high heat 2000-degree cement that I wanted to install today, is back at my home. See, we are at the lovely place, and the lovely place is a future wannabe homestead where we have a total of 60 acres. A lot of field out there. We're wanting to have gardens, we're wanting to have livestock, and about 40 acres on the back side of woods so that we can harvest deer, turkey, and other game as needed. But we've got this tiny house that is in progress, and here's our wood stove. I just popped off this DuraBlack. This is a double wall inside here, and again, the video that I'm going to link you to has the full detail of that as well. But yeah, inside here, this is where I was going to add that cement right here, because I did not want smoke to get through in this area and seep outside of this before it got out the wall here. And so I've already put, if you can see, some black sealant around there. It's a different kind. It does not require the extreme heat like this one in here does. So I purchased the Rutland RTV 2000-degree cement, and I will try to link a picture of that in here so that you'll know what I'm using on the inside of here. I'm cutting in because this is actually a new day, but we're going to come right back to where we left off. But I brought the furnace cement up here, and this is it. This is the Rutland furnace cement, and it is the 2000 degrees Fahrenheit. It says it's for metal and masonry. Seals metal to metal joints or masonry to metal joints, smoke and gas tight. So that's exactly what we want, is to prevent that smoke from going into this area. I did some fabrication. You can see rivets right here where I added some depth, some length of the pipe out. I cut that off of one of the other pieces that I had. So just keep in mind, when you're doing your through the wall chimney, depending on the depth of that wall, you may have to make some minor adjustments and do some fabricating yourself. If you watch that video, you'll see where I actually also added on this sheet metal here to extend this for the thimble to go on there. So a little bit of figuring out as we went, but we're gonna go ahead and get this in a caulk gun and squirt it in around there. Now it says on the back here in the directions that within the next 30 days after doing this, I need to gradually heat the area up here up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit so it can cure properly. That shouldn't be a problem since we're going to be putting a fire right down here in the box. Slice a little bit off. Take this caulk gun. If y'all don't know this, I'm sad to say I didn't know this for a long time, but most caulk guns come with this little pin here, and you can stick it in to open that up and then get that started. So yeah, I didn't know that for a minute. I wish I'd have showed you this when I did it, but you see how runny that is? It was pouring out like water when I first did it. So I highly recommend do this outside or somewhere over a trash can before you go up there. Luckily I did that, and it's just draining out like water. Now outside it started coming out a little thicker, so now we're getting a little bit of what it should be the consistency of, but that's the issue that I immediately had, was almost the consistency of water. All right, let's just go in and start going around this. We'll start on the bottom since it's, again, kind of liquidy. Yeah, that's really, really gooey. I don't know how it's gonna stay up high if it's that thin, very thin. I'll bring you in here when I get it up and let you see how it's looking. But it's all running downhill, guys. It appears to be a little thicker now. Let's go up top. Boy, that's thin stuff, y'all. Okay, so unfortunately, I did not bring disposable gloves, but these are gonna be disposable. A lot has accumulated down there, down low, and I'm gonna rub some of that up there and try to smooth it out a little bit. Just trying to fill in that gap. This is so thin that I can't believe they actually put this in a caulk gun. It just doesn't make sense. Unless this is a bad batch. If somebody knows if you've used this before and whether it's ever been this thin and you've experienced it, I would love to know so that everybody watching can also know, because most of us have never dealt with this kind of stuff before. I think I'm getting it up in there. I'm gonna get a light in a second and look way up in there and let you see. I may even get a paper towel and get some of that off of the metal where it doesn't need to be. So basically, as long as it fills up that little hole, we're good to make it airtight. Let's get in there and look close. Let's get a look in there. So it filled up the space. If you can see that, right along that edge, it did fill up that space. However, my only question is this stuff any good? Was it too old? Did it get too hot or too cold at any point? Because it did sit out in my truck throughout the whole summer. So I may have messed it up, but we're gonna hope that it will dry, especially when we get that 500 degrees going through here and get it cured. And hopefully it will dry up and keep it airtight. But it's so thin, it almost doesn't paste it well enough to get that airtight happening. I see inside we've got another little area that I'm gonna hit as well. For deeper inside there, this won't go in far enough because this trigger hits the edge of that. I wish I had done deeper in first because I'm probably gonna get this stuff on my arm, but we're gonna improvise and we're gonna take this caulk gun and we're gonna squirt some of this down inside of this cup here. Now it's actually thick. Isn't that interesting? It's much thicker than it was. I might put some of this where we've already placed it. It doesn't come out quick, does it? But anyway, I've got a little knife here, a little disposable knife, and I'm gonna go in there and kind of putty up around that crack that I just showed you. And then, like I said, we may touch up this outside with this thicker stuff. Slow as molasses. Okay, we'll go with that for now. It's like putting icing on a cake. All right. This is not a bad way to do it deep inside there. Might even be better to put it on your finger and just rub it up in there. So that's our next step. I'll go ahead and get some of this on here. And any that I've got left in here at the moment, we'll go inside and do that. That way I can also smooth it out. That's definitely getting it. Let's grab some paper towels and get the excess off, because we don't want to leave anything in there that could cause any buildup. All right, so in a second, I'll take you up close and let you see on in there a little bit better. But I wanted to let you know that there is going to be excess on there, just residue. And of course, I wiped it down the best I could with some wet wipes. It says to use warm water to do that. We don't have any warm water up here, so we did what we could. But you can sand off any excess on there after it's dry. And so that's good to know. That way you're not going to have a buildup of creosote on top of this sealant here. So let's let you get in there and take a look at that. I think that looks pretty good now around through there. It looks like it's not quite as thin as it was, and then you'll see on back toward the back where I also had to fill in some space. But yeah, I think we're smoke sealed now and air sealed inside this pipe. So that means we can hook everything back up and get it burning. But yes, this is our wood stove. This is the box we made to hold some of the firewood. And when it's all said and done, we're gonna have us a fire in here. Now, we would have had this done sooner, but we've not got the walls finished. And until we get some kind of protection on the wall, some tile or metal or something, we don't want to put our first fire in the wood stove. But the chimney worked out great. It was no fun getting on top of the barn and dealing with that, but I purchased some scaffolding, which helped me a lot. I've got it up for other purposes here, and that got me up there where I needed to be. But yeah, I just want this is the time of year where a lot of you guys are putting in your chimneys. You're looking into this DuraVent or DuraPlus product, and I just want you to know that there's a pretty good resource on the channel here if you need it. So with that being said, I will lead you to those links, and I hope that this will help you. Take care, and thanks for coming to the lovely place. We'll see you next time.